Last Tuesday, a guy traded in a 3-year-old full-size SUV and lost 30 grand on paper. He was devastated. I was thrilled because that 30 grand didn't vanish. It moved. It moved to whoever buys that truck next. And lately, that's been me and every mechanic I know. Full-size SUVs are getting slaughtered on the used market right now, not because they're bad, because they're thirsty, insurance climbed, and everybody who leased one new is dumping them at the same time. That collision just handed regular buyers the deal of the decade. Today I'm counting down 8 full-size SUVs that quietly crashed in price. And which ones are actually worth grabbing? Let's get into it. Number 8, Jeep Wagoneer. I'll be honest, when the Wagoneer first showed up, I told customers to stay away. Brand new nameplate, first year build, and Jeep's reliability reputation isn't exactly Toyota's. But here's what happened. Jeep priced these things against the Escalade and the Navigator when they launched, well into the 60s and 70s, and the market never fully agreed. So the depreciation came fast and hard. A Wagoneer loses about 49% of its value in 5 years according to IC cars. And on a truck that's stickered north of 60 grand, that is a staggering amount of money falling off the hood. What you get for that money is the part people forget. Underneath the Wagoneer's slightly awkward badge situation is a properly good full-size SUV. The interior is genuinely nicer than a Tahoe. The ride is quiet. And the early ones ran the 5.7-liter Hemi Vav 8 with the e-torque mild hybrid setup, a naturally aspirated port and direct injected V8 that has been in Ram trucks for over a decade. That engine is a known quantity. Mechanics have been servicing Hemis forever. Parts are everywhere and they're cheap. Now, the honest part, because I'm not going to blow smoke. The Hemi has a lifter and camshaft issue on higher mileage examples you need to know about. So when you inspect one, cold start it and listen. A ticking or tapping that doesn't clear in the first 30 seconds is a walk away, or at minimum a heavy negotiation. Get a good one and you've got a luxury grade family hauler for Yukon money. That's why it's on the list. Number 7, Toyota Sequoia. Now I know what you're thinking. A Toyota holds its value, it can't have crashed. And you're mostly right, the Sequoia only depreciates around 35% over 5 years, one of the best in the entire class. So why is it here? Because the previous generation is the sweet spot nobody's talking about. The Sequoia from 2008 through 2022 ran the 5.7-liter 3URF EV8. Let me tell you about that engine because it's the reason I'm putting a Toyota on a crashed price list. The 3UR is one of the most durable V8s Toyota ever built. Naturally aspirated, timing chain, not a belt, port injection, which means no carbon buildup headaches like the direct injection engines get. I have personally seen these things pass 300,000 miles on the original engine and transmission and keep going like nothing happened. The catch that creates your bargain is fuel economy. That old Sequoia gets, charitably, around 15 miles per gallon. So when gas ticks up, the market cools on the older ones and prices soften even on a Toyota. That's your window. You're trading a few bucks at the pump for an SUV that will quite literally outlive most of the newer, more complicated competition. Inspection tip specific to this one, check the frame. Toyota had frame rust issues on some earlier trucks in salt states, and there were extended coverage programs. Get underneath it or get a shop too. A clean frame Sequoia is about the safest used full-size purchase on the planet. It won't be the cheapest truck on this list, but it might be the last SUV you ever have to buy. Number 6, Chevrolet Tahoe. The Tahoe is the best-selling full-size SUV in America. And here's the beautiful irony, because they built so many, and because so many came off fleet and lease at once, the used market is drowning in them. That's great news for you. A Tahoe drops somewhere between 46 and 52% over 5 years, depending on whose data you trust. And because there are so many on lots, dealers actually have to negotiate. Mechanically, this is comfort food for a technician. Most of them run the 5.3-liter Ecotec 3 V8, an engine derived from the same small block architecture GM has been refining since the 1990s. I can fix almost anything on it in my sleep, and so can every other shop in the country. Parts are dirt cheap and available at any counter. That matters enormously on a used vehicle, because reliability isn't just about how often something breaks, it's about how much it costs and how long it takes to fix when it does. The one real gotcha is the AFM system, active fuel management, the cylinder deactivation. On some of these, it causes excessive oil consumption and, in worst cases, lifter failure. So when you shop, check the oil level and ask about consumption history. A lot of savvy owners install a range delay device or disable AFM, and honestly, that's a plus, not a minus. Find a Tahoe with clean maintenance records and the AFM sorted, and you've got a 9-passenger family truck with 8,000 pounds of towing capacity that GM basically can't stop making parts for. Cheap to buy, cheap to keep, that's the whole game. But if the Tahoe is the popular pick, this next one is the exact same truck, wearing a slightly fancier suit for thousands less. Number 5, GMC Yukon and Yukon XL. Here's a secret the badge-conscious crowd will never let themselves believe. The Yukon is a Tahoe. The Yukon XL is a Suburban. Same platform, same frame, same 5.3-liter and available 6.2-liter V8s. Same 10-speed transmission on the later ones. GMC positions it as the premium brand, so it stickers higher when new, and then it depreciates harder. The Yukon and Yukon XL post some of the steepest 5-year value drops in the whole segment, in the low to mid 50% range on some data. Read that again. It's the same truck as the Tahoe, it costs more new, and it falls further, which means on the used market you can frequently buy a nicer trimmed Yukon Denali with the better interior, the magnetic ride control, the available 6.2 V8 that actually makes 420 horsepower for around what a lesser equipped Tahoe costs. That is a genuine market inefficiency, and it exists purely because of badge perception. The 6.2-liter is the one to hunt for if you can find it. It's the same engine family that goes into performance applications. It's naturally aspirated and it's stout. Just know it wants premium fuel. The inspection routine is identical to the Tahoe. Check for AFM related oil consumption, listen at cold start, and pull the transmission dipstick or have the fluid checked. Because the 8-speed in certain model years had some shutter issues that a fluid service usually resolves. Get a Denali with the 6.2 and clean records, and you're driving something that felt like an $80,000 truck 3 years ago for a fraction of that. The person who bought it new ate the depreciation. You just get the truck. Number 4, Ford Expedition. The Expedition is one of the harder falling full-size SUVs out there. IC Cars pegs it around 52% over 5 years, worse than the Tahoe. And that's a shame, because in a lot of ways it's the better driving vehicle. Ford went to independent rear suspension years before some rivals, so the ride and the third row space are genuinely excellent. It's a fantastic family highway machine. Under the hood is the 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin turbo V6. Now this is where I have to give you the real mechanic talk, because turbos change the math. When the EcoBoost is maintained, it's strong and it makes serious torque. It'll tow like a diesel, but it is more complex than a naturally aspirated V8. There's more to fail. The known items over high mileage are the timing chain and its guides, the water pump, which on some Ford engines is internal and expensive to reach, and eventually the turbochargers themselves if oil changes were neglected. So the Expedition rewards a careful buyer and punishes a lazy one. The play here is to find one with a documented, obsessive oil change history. This engine lives and dies by clean oil on a strict schedule. Pull the history, look for consistent service, and steer toward one owner if you can. Do that, and you're getting arguably the most comfortable riding full-size SUV in the group that hauls a whole family in real comfort at a price the depreciation gods knocked way, way down. Skip the neglected ones. The good ones are a steal. Number 3, Cadillac Escalade. We're into the luxury tier now, and this is where the crashes get almost violent. The Cadillac Escalade loses roughly 58 to 61% of its value in 5 years on an SUV that's stickered around 85 to 90 plus $1,000 new. Do that math with me. You are watching $50,000 evaporate off the window sticker of a vehicle that is mechanically a Chevy Suburban in a tuxedo. And I mean that as the highest compliment. The Escalade rides on the exact same GM full-size platform as the Tahoe and Suburban. Same 6.2-liter V8, same transmission, same everything that actually keeps a vehicle running. The difference is the leather, the badges, the sound system, the air suspension, and the technology. So when you buy a used Escalade, you are buying Suburban reliability and Suburban parts pricing wrapped in a vehicle that turns heads and cost nearly 6 figures 3 years ago. The things that separate it are also the things to inspect. The air suspension and magnetic ride control are wonderful when they work and expensive when they don't. So on your test drive, make sure the truck sits level and rides smooth. A sagging corner overnight means a failing air strut. Check every screen and every feature works, because luxury electronics are where the repair bills hide. But the drivetrain, that's the same bulletproof GM V8 the whole country's mechanics can service for cheap. An Escalade is the ultimate example of letting someone else pay for the badge while you keep the engineering. 2 spots left, and the last one is the truck I'd actually put my own family in for the money. Number 2, Lincoln Navigator. If the Escalade is the flashy depreciation king, the Navigator is the quiet one. And I think it's the better kept secret. It drops about 59 to 60% over 5 years, right there with the Cadillac, but far fewer people cross-shop it, which means less competition for the good used examples and more room to negotiate. Here's the pitch. The modern Navigator has one of the nicest interiors ever put in an American vehicle. I'm talking about seats that are genuinely better than what you'll find in vehicles costing twice as much used. It runs the 3.5-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost V6, the same engine family as the Expedition, tuned to make big, effortless power, moving nearly 3 tons of luxury like it's nothing. And because it shares so much with the Expedition and the Ford truck line, a lot of the mechanical parts are shared, proven, and available. The inspection story is the same as the Expedition, plus the luxury electronics. Verify the oil change history religiously because of the turbos. Confirm the adaptive suspension rides smooth. Make sure the massaging seats, the screens, the power folding third row, all of it actually functions, because that's where luxury repair costs live. Get one that was babied by its original owner, and you are stepping into a truck that felt like a $100,000 vehicle new for the price of a mid-trim Camry Plus. Nobody's watching the Navigator. That's exactly why it belongs this high. Which brings me to number 1. And before I tell you if any of this has saved you from overpaying, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put out the truth about what's worth buying and what dealerships wish you didn't know. All right. Number 1, Nissan Armada and its twin, the Infiniti QX80. I'm giving you 2 trucks in one slot because they are, underneath, the same vehicle. And together they are the single most overlooked value in the entire full-size market. The Armada is the cheapest full-size SUV you can buy new. And on the used market, it depreciates harder than almost anything in its class, somewhere in the neighborhood of 57 to 66% over 5 years, depending on the source. The Infiniti QX80, which is the luxury version of the exact same truck, is even more brutal. CarEdge data shows it shedding around 65 to 69% of its value in 5 years, 69%, on a truck that's stickered near $100,000. Now here's why that's the smartest buy on this entire list. That collapse in price is almost entirely about brand perception and new price snobbery. It has almost nothing to do with the machine. Because the previous generation Armada and QX80 ran the 5.6-liter VK56 V8, and that engine is a legend among people who actually turn wrenches. It's the same fundamental engine architecture Nissan put in the Patrol and the Titan: naturally aspirated, timing chain, no turbos to blow, endless mileage, durability. I have watched these things run and run while owners did almost nothing to them. RepairPal has actually ranked the QX80 at the top of its full-size luxury class for reliability. Let me put the value in real terms. A used QX80 gives you a hand-stitched leather, 3-row luxury SUV with 8,500 pounds of towing capacity and a bulletproof V8 for the price of a mid-level compact crossover. The reason it's cheap is that the badge doesn't have Cadillac or Lincoln Prestige, and the original buyers got hammered on depreciation. Their loss is entirely your gain. When you shop one, here's your checklist. First, cold start that VK56 V8 and listen for a healthy, smooth idle. It should sound effortless. Second, the older ones are genuinely thirsty. So this is a truck for someone who values capability and comfort over fuel bills. Go in with eyes open. Third, check the brakes and suspension because these are heavy trucks and worn owners skip maintenance, but every one of those parts is cheap and straightforward compared to European luxury. Fourth, and this is the PRO move, look for a one owner. QX80 that a retiree drove gently. A pampered QX80 with reasonable miles is the closest thing to a $100,000 truck you can buy for 30-something. Nothing else on this list delivers that ratio of luxury and durability to dollars. That's why it's number one. Toyota tier engine durability, Cadillac tier comfort, and a price that crashed through the floor for reasons that have zero to do with how the truck actually drives. So there it is. 8 full-size SUVs the market quietly gave up on while everyone was distracted. The Jeep Wagoneer with luxury for Yukon money. The Sequoia's bulletproof old V8. The Tahoe, the Yukon, and the suburban platform that half of America can service for cheap. The Expedition and Navigator, riding on shared, proven Ford power. The Escalade, a suburban in a tuxedo. And the Armada and QX80, the biggest bargains in the business because of a badge, not a flaw. Every single one of these fell in price for the same reason. Somebody else already ate the depreciation. New truck buyers took the $50,000 hit, so you don't have to. Full-size SUVs are big, thirsty, and expensive to own new, which is exactly why they get slaughtered on the used market, and exactly why a smart buyer with cash and a good inspection walks away with an obscene deal. Next time you're on a lot and the salesman steers you toward a brand new one with a payment that'll follow you for 7 years, you'll know the smarter move is sitting 3 rows back, 2 years old, with the worst of the depreciation already behind it. If this helped, like the video and subscribe. I've got more coming on, which used trucks and SUVs are actually worth your money, and which ones dealers are quietly trying to unload. Do your inspection, buy the right one, and let somebody else pay for the privilege of driving it new. I'll see you in the next one.